thanks every sponsor who made this evening possible for all of us. And I also want to thank the students in particular, because this is your effort. This is your motivation to learn more about other countries, to learn, from the first-hand experience person like myself, because maybe most of you, like I heard that some high school students are here with us, which is a great thing. I love talking to them. I'm not that old from high school student, and even those university students are here. I'm 27 years of age. I have started going to school first time ever in my life at age of 21 in 2000 at Boston Evening Academy High School. And I will share that experience with you, how it feels like to go to school when you're 21 years old. Never had any basic, education before in any language. It's not a matter only to say English, though the people speak English here, but not even in my native language, Dinka, or a second language, Arabic. I had to start from below zero. So I want to thank you in advance, and I want to apologize, as I just mentioned, that excuse for you. I had learned English for only 8 years. I've been in the United States in 1999. Please be careful. My English is not greater as you can maybe assume. I'm not like yours, but I'm doing my best, because the story that made me to be here with you is one of the most things that concern me than anything else I do in my daily, life. I'm here not just to bring you back to all this memory and things that I have gone through from age 7 to 17. It is an issue as well to educate that, but most importantly, I'm here as a representative of those who cannot be here with us. I'm here representing the 27 million people who are still enslaved globally. I'm here to represent the people of Sudan, people of Southern Sudan, where I am from, people of Darfur in the western part of Sudan, where the current situation that most of you might be familiar with. I'm here to represent all the people globally and people of the United States, because the United States is my second country, it's my second home, that I always, say thank you to the United States, thank you to people of the United States for not only giving me a second chance at life to relive my dreams again, because today my dreams rise again. Over 10 years ago, I used to lie awake at night and wondered, who's going to come and free me when I was enslaved? And I'm so thankful that I had maintained and able to accomplish my dreams by escaping and made my way to the United States of America. Thank you, people of the United States. Thank you, America. This is such a great pleasure for me to really take you back, to share with you the details of how I became a slave. It was sometime, as you heard from the introducer, in 1986, I was 7 years old, like others, 7 years old and 6 years old and 10 years old and 11 years old in the United States. Kids who go to school in the morning, when they came, they actually welcome home by their parents and sisters and brothers, and provide them with food and their toys, and watch their favorite cartoon or any other, TV channel they like. But kids in Southern Sudan, unlike kids here or elsewhere, we do not have, that many chores we do, because Southern Sudan never been stable. Kids don't watch cartoon, they don't even know TV or radio or any other stuff. They don't go to school. They only wake up in the morning and sit underneath the tree and God sit alone, because women are always a unique people. They always sit alone and practice, think that when you grow up, become, a woman, this is what you will do, how to cook well, how to set up your house well, how to clean your house. And I remember we used to group ourselves, boys and girls, though that we are all about the same age. And the boys actually go to a nearby, river and bring all this big mud. And we put that mud down and we start actually making cows. We compete of who will make a lot of cows a day. I always want to be number one. I always want to be on the top of everything. Even when it's difficult, when I compete with the difficult guys that work faster than I, have the same, determination, I still say to them, I will not give up. I will work hard and I will advance myself, because when you had actually abandoned something, means that you lose. And I never say it is too big or it is this and that, all these excuses that we all know. I will say I can do it, and I definitely succeed when I say that. You can tell from example that being here, nobody really told me, Francis, you are now free, go. No, nobody. But I did it. I said to myself, I want to be free. I tried, and it worked out. And those who didn't try it are still there now. So it was that evening, while I was playing with my friends from the neighbor, my mother came and she said, Pule, I want to send you to a local market to sell cooked eggs and peanuts. And I said to my friends, I know you're all going to beat me, but I will catch up tomorrow. I want to go do this favor for my mother. My mother talked to one of the girls. She was about 15 years old. She's our neighbor. Her name is Jabol. I still remember. She said, you go with Francis and make sure that you wash him, and make sure that you take the money away from him when there's any customer purchase something. She was very kind, young girl, and we went to local market walking, actually, because people in southern Sudan, that said, walk by foot. There's no public transportation. When we got there, we sat underneath the big tree, and there was a lot of people like us sitting here. People are selling and buying, coming from all different villages. And while we were sitting there, I heard some people talking about the smoke. And they were pointing towards our village. And I did not realize something had occurred. Actually, soon we left there. And some also saying that they heard gun shooting. These things were just a normal thing to me as a young, and many other kids. We did not know what will happen at that marketplace or what had already happened behind us. But these people were saying the real things. They were saying that the Arab Murahalin, or those so-called today in Darfur Janjaweed, had already come and occupied our village. And they start killing people, and they start actually capturing women and children, and they were marching them to come to the marketplace where we were. And because the Sudanese government in Khartoum supplies this Arab militia, Arab tribes, they are the kind of people like us too, and we're neighboring each other. Darfur is not that far from my county in particular, or my state called Awil. It's in northern Barkazal, which is, we actually just separated each other. There's a river between us called Badr Arab. We call it in the native language Kir. And that's only separated us from them. And they crossed that, and when they crossed, they definitely approached to our area. So these militiamen, supplied by the Sudanese government by giving them guns and everything, and they told them go there and kill the women and children. Kill the men and take women and children and bring them to slavery. That day, my parents were killed. My mom, my dad, and two sisters, and many other relatives. I did not know, though. I said that in advance because that's what happened when I learned 3 years later when I came to the United States. That's when I learned that my parents were killed the same day I was captured. The same militiamen have actually marched to that local market, and they stormed that local market. And it was just like a nightmare when I see people shouting and asking for help. Everyone, including myself. When I see every directions were stormed by these mad people, rushing in with machine guns, they start shooting. I saw many, many people that I couldn't even count, men and women and even children on the ground. You see them on the ground like they just decided to relax, actually, but they were dead bodies. That was my first time to witness such violence like what I saw that evening. I stood up. I was actually trying to get away from that situation, but there's no exit. Nowhere you can go. Everywhere is actually stormed by these people with a gun. They actually rushed it, collecting women and children, and I were captured by this, man. His name Jim Abdullah. He grabbed my hands and he was speaking to me in a strange language I couldn't understand at that time. He was speaking to me in Arabic, and I'd never spoken Arabic before. He dragged me and put me with the kid who were captured, and I watched them destroying everything on the market, and of course they were stealing other things that they need to take with them. And afterward, they marched over to the north. I will not share with you about what happened on the way, but one thing I can share with you, the young girl that I saw was shot in front of all of us. She was screaming, saying that she's seen her mother and father killed. They burned them at the big hut. Actually, people refused, the women refused to go with them. They put them in the big hut like this and burn it. And she was captured. That's from our village, and she was saying, why did they kill my mother and father? And one of the militiamen told her to stop, and she couldn't stop crying. And what they did, they took her out of the group, and she was shot on the head. It was a sign for all of us, all the kids and even the adults that were captured women, to be silent. I also learned a lot of things on the way that we're doing to the women. And this is something that I wish you, all these young women and anybody that want to know, but what happened specifically to the women when they captured and during the time when they captured them. Because again, you have heard that we talk about human trafficking, like that you heard here. When I hear about the human trafficking thing that happened to women in this nation or wherever they trafficked to, you have heard, and I will not mention definition. So I had witnessed all that, and when we actually come to area where these people live, all of us were divided up to militiamen, and I ended up living with Jim Abdullah, who became my master for the next 10 years. I remember at that time when we were divided up, the young girl that I mentioned, her name Nubol, she was screaming my name. She was saying, Pule, why are you leaving me? Pule is my African name, and Francis, of course, is because my parents are Christians. And I couldn't speak. She was saying, why are you going with that strange man? Why don't you come with me? And she was taken by someone else too. If you can ask me today where she's at, I would tell you I don't know. That was my first time to hear from her and to see her in 1986 when I was 7 years old. And you can imagine I'm 27 today. That's 20 years later. And when I was taken to this person's farm, he called the whole family. It's like some people, when you buy a new house here or a new car and you have friends, you call them to come and see it and to say to you, congratulations. And when I was actually taken there, I saw the family was standing there, and I thought they may go and receive me well. But I see everyone was laughing and shouting, saying, Abid, Abid. And I did not even know what Abid means. Abid means black slave. That was my welcome. And I saw my master's wife running around talking to her husband, saying that, don't let him look at me, and saying that she didn't like me. Her husband should just get ready of me and go bring other slave, kill me. And they sent their children to beat me. And it was 3 of them beating at me. I was crying aloud and nobody helped me. Until afterward I stopped. I was very angry even though I was young. I said, I never ever seen such horrible people who don't even think about 7 years old. Why? What is my guilt? Why are they allowing their children to beat me? And why mother and father and even grandmother washing and they're not helping me? That was my first question, but I did not ask that question because there's no way for me to communicate with them. They don't speak my native language, Dinka, and I don't speak the language, Arabic. All they were telling me, they tell me using the sign language to me to understand what they tell me. And after the kid got tired, they tell them to leave. And my master actually did said to me to follow him, and he showed me a small shelter that close to the animals. And I wasn't surprised that Juma has a lot of animals, cows and horses and donkeys and camels and goats, because my people, Dinka people, are a cattle people. We love cattle like Texas people. We love cows. Yeah, we love cows and we love all kind of animals. So, but one thing that surprises me though, I was forced to sleep next to them. And I was too young. You see all these big, horses and big, camels and cows. And I was afraid that they would kill me. And I have a lot of complaints, but there's no way to complain them. Until one day I said to myself, I want to learn the language these people speak so I can ask them 3 questions, only 3 questions in million questions that I have. I said, if I'm able to ask, I will ask 3 questions. It did not take me a short time to ask those questions. It took me maybe several years to learn Arabic a little bit. And when I learned a little bit Arabic, broken Arabic, my English is better now. I asked 3 questions one day. One of the first questions when my master come to me, he actually bring me food. His wife don't come close by me. If she come close by me, she will come and tell me, don't move your head, stay straight, and she will come and spit in my eyes. If I look at her, she said, don't look at me. Though that you can't judge your eyes where you look like, because you look here and there. And sometimes if she's passing by and by mistake I look at her, she will come and say, don't move, stay there, and will come and spit in my eyes. And nobody would tell her why, and I don't know why she hated me, I said, is this her children? Why she hated me like this? What did I do? And for 10 years, to be honest with you, she never ever smiled or even say anything nicer to me, ever. And I'm not saying she's the only one, but her the worst. Her husband, of course, talked to me, but she only talked to me about his business, taking care of his cattle, moving me from this job to that job, but nothing nicer. He never come and say, how did you sleep last night? Are you okay? Or even when I'm sick, when I'm say sick, they can see it or smell it, but they never cares. They never cares, and just by miracle I survive. When anything serious happened to me, I will say, God, please help me. And I remember when I was young and my mother tried to preach me about the Christianity, she always say, do you know your name is Francis? And I say, I don't know. She will explain to me. And then she say, do you know also when you are alone or 2 of you, do you know that God is among you? She always say, God is Son, Jesus Christ, always with you and love you and always guided you in anything that, you are doing. And I remember that, I say I'm not alone, though that I see only cows and all these animals, God is watching. God would not allow anything bad to happen to me. Maybe that's sort of, what kept me going and made me survive, all that, horrible years with this family I'm describing to you. So when I asked them the first question, why he forced me to sleep with the animals, and why, they called me Abid, black slave, and why nobody loves me, it took him a second to respond, and then he walked back. He did not say anything, and he grabbed his favorite stick. He has favorite stick that he beat me, actually, that he put somewhere that he go and take it whenever he wanted to beat me. And he started beating me. You know, he beat me, and then he said to me, the reason we call you a beat, black slave, and force you to sleep with the animals is because you are an animal. That's what he said to me. I did not say anything back to him because I don't have freedom to say it. You know, but I was very, very angry afterward. I said to myself, I'm not an animal, I'm a human being. All my parents, you know, love me. My brothers, my sisters, and even my stepmother and my mother, everybody in the community loved me. Why are these people calling me an animal? That's really made me very angry. You know, I started living double life from that day on. I work hard every day. Just imagine being a young person and you're the first one to wake up in the morning and the last one to go to bed. That was my life routine. I never complained, but I work hard every day. I knew one day, as I mentioned to you in the beginning of my speech, I'm a man who doesn't give up. I said one day I'm going to be a free man. You know, I managed. I said one day I want to escape when I turned age of 14. It was one of the tough decisions to make. I just ran away and I left the cows alone one morning. 7 years later, after I worked with them, I was 14, and I was caught by one of the family members, and he brought me back, and my master beat me, and he said if I tried to escape again, he would kill me. But in my heart, I didn't give up. I said I'd rather die than be a slave because I hate the way they treat me, and also the way they treat other slaves. One of the neighbor, actually, guy, he's one of the richest guy with the camels in the area. He only owns camels. He doesn't have any others. Maybe he have 2, 3, 4 camels, or horses or donkeys. But he earns all, you know, kind of different, you know, camel. They call them different names, and people come and purchase from him in that neighborhood. He has one slave, and I know this slave's name. His name Barjuk. Barjuk. First name and last name almost the same. I can spell it for you. And he's a Dinka tribe as well. He was captured about the same time when I was captured. And this young man was forced to take care of all these camels. And you can tell from the height that camel has, they're lazy. And when this kid complained, you know, about the work, they always beat him. And one day he was sick, very sick, and his master forced him to go after them, and he refused. He said, no, I can't handle them today. I'm extremely sick. His master said, go, you have no excuse for whatsoever. He said, okay. He went, and then he left them alone and come home. So when he came home, his master started beating him, and he cut off his left leg. And he said, because you're lazy, I'm going to make you stay home. One evening, I did not know what I did, and my master beat me, and he said, I want to show you an example, and you come with me. You know, he was riding his favorite donkey, and I was walking, you know, beside him, and when we got to that neighbor's house, he said, go to that room and ask that boy in your language. He speaks the same language you speak. And when I see him, I start crying. I asked him what his name. He said his name Barjuk. And I said my name, and he said, my town and your town is not far away. I mean, your village and my village are close by. He was captured one of the village we passed by after they raided my village and my actually local market. He lived one of the market. They were captured one of the market called Masharadut, you know, and he said, I lost my leg because I did not do the work. And if you also forced to do the work, please don't ever refuse. Even when you can walk, just do your best. God may help you. He said, I don't know my fate if I will survive because I'm not worth it anymore. I will not do the same job that I used to do. Maybe they will get rid of me. And I started crying, and him, my master, and his friend were watching. And when I started crying, he came and slapped me on the face, and he told me to leave, to go back with him. That pain had never gone away from me. And even today, you know, it's what made me actually to forget my young life as like other young immigrants who come from different countries and go to school and do good things for their future and future of their country or family. But when I came here, I choose to do this kind of work that I'm doing. When I started, I can barely. You can barely hear what I'm saying. You can come even closer and you still can get it. In 2000. But I work hard every day. And I learn a lot from you. I learned my English from you, from the students, from everybody that I talk to. I say this is the most important story to learn. You know, if you say this is not happening to me or happening to anyone I know, it's happening in my country, if you say this is none of your business, you're wrong. This is everyone's business. Even you are sitting here in comfort and freedom, it is your business. It is your potential to do whatever you can because we all have common sense as a human being. People who always, you know, want to be respected, you know, and allowed to live any kind of life that you wish to live. This is just experience of 8 years I've been in America talking to you, but there are people who cannot even explain to you what happened to them. And they will never have that chance to even be free to tell their story. And that's why I say after I come here, I can just live my life as individual and forget about what I had gone through and what my people are still going through. And in other nations that I heard, their estimate of 27 million people are still enslaved worldwide. Because slavery is not history. You know, if you ask me again about Bajok, what happened to him, I would tell you I don't know. He may be alive, maybe with that one leg left, or dead. He's not the only one. If you ever seen some other pictures on TV when they show things, even in Darfur now, you see some kids, you know, their fingers chopped up or arm or whatever. I've seen that. So many, more than 50 people just, you take one leg here and one arm here, and you can't balance yourself to stand. I've seen those torture. I've seen them. For people that I speak to them in the same language, they may not be alive even now. So I am here to challenge you, friends. I'm here to challenge you because I know I have already challenged many, many kids in the United States and Canada during my time when I turned to become a young abolitionist, and I always tell them it is also your turn to do whatever you can with your freedom that you have. Because what is good, your freedom, if you don't use it? To help also those who are living a dream of freedom. When I was enslaved for 10 years, I used to lie awake at night and wondered who's going to come and free me. Nobody come, but I did made it, and God has freed me, I should say. But what about those, you know, who are still there? I want you and I to help free them. I want you to prevent it from happening to any other generation. It doesn't matter if it's not happening in your country, in your neighborhood, or anyone you know, as I said earlier. But it is important to prevent it from happening to human beings. Because we all have common sense. And that is what I ask young American students and ask young international students who I sometimes meet. You know, some surprise me, even some from Eastern Africa where we close by, they say we don't know anything what's going on in Sudan. Because the government pretend not to tell the truth as well. They're blinded or whatever it is, or government tell them don't say it. And nobody want to get in trouble. I want to be in trouble, and I am in trouble. Hey, and I'm proud, I'm happy. I have this potential to stand up for my people. I have this potential to stand up for others, and I will not be scared for whatever people tell me. I had already seen people coming towards me at the American campuses and even doing a TV show or radio talk shows I had people threaten me, tell me that don't do it. If you continue to do it, you will see. I tell them, friend, I will not stop. I will not stop until I see my people are free at last. Because 2 million of my people has been killed in southern Sudan during the 21 civil war. That includes my parents. You know, when I travel to other states, you know, I always surprised because anywhere you go, you meet Sudanese. I came here last night, I met refugees from Sudan. And I knew them back in Egypt. Everywhere you go. I believe in every state in America, in every country, like Canada, and I heard there's all Sudanese all over the world, include Spain country. So I would never listen to these people because they are the people that, you know, blinded you. Because nobody ever spoken out, and our government can't do it alone. We need to bother them. We need to shame our government here. We need to talk to our Congress, our senators, you know, write a letter to State Department and actually the White House. We need to talk to everybody, include our, you know, pastors and rabbis, anybody that we need to tell them, our parents, this is happening, you know, and I could tell you, today Sudan look a little okay in southern Sudan conflict and the northern Sudanese government in Khartoum, because with help of the students that I have met and understand the issue that I talk about, they have written numerous letters to their leaders, and their leaders have challenged president, and now there's a peace accord has signed a year ago in Sudan between the South Sudanese rebels, us, and the Sudanese government in Khartoum in January 2005. Though it wasn't a successful, you know, peace agreement, because soon after that, maybe a few months, you know, our leader, our beloved brother and leader, Dr. John Garang, had died or killed on the helicopter crash between Sudan border and Uganda. He came to visit his colleague from his school, the president of Uganda, and on his way going home, he didn't make it. We saw the news here in America on an Arabic TV, Al Jazeera, you know, John Garang died on the helicopter crash. He agreed to become the first vice president and president of the government of Southern Sudan, you know, and he only worked at his office for 3 weeks in Khartoum, the capital, as a vice president to Umar al-Bashir, the man that maybe you saw him at the UN General Assembly. He was speaking there, and we were very angry because he's the man who fought this war for us. You know, he's the man that we hope that he will bring, you know, democracy in our country, because he's well educated. He was here in the United States. He gave up his wonderful life and took the risk to help his people. He's not with us today, but we have someone replace him, General Salva Kiir Mayar. He's not as successful, you know, but he's a military man, and he's doing his best now. And we are worried that the war may start again, because the Sudanese government now not even following the what we had agreed on. They're busy with the issue of Darfur because they're still killing our people. This is when we actually about to sign the peace with them in 2003. And you know that's when the war started in Darfur region. They shifted the war immediately to Darfur region, killing black Muslims there. And we thought, you know, people in Darfur wouldn't have any problem because they are Muslims. Every single black person that is Muslims, except those of us in the South who are Christians, animists, traditional believers. We thought the war would declare against us because we refused to accept Islamic law, a Sharia law, and changing our identity as a black African to be Islamized and Arabized. We thought that was an issue, but we did not that people of Darfur will be killed, and now they are dying. You've seen that on the news a lot. And it is very, I don't know how I can describe that government we have. We need a lot of your help in order to stop them, to stop the Sudanese government in Khartoum by slaughtering its own citizens and enslaving them. And this is one of the things that I'm standing here. I'm really standing here with the people of Darfur, and my people, South Sudanese, are standing with them in solidarity, actually. Politically, we're standing with them. Southern Sudan is still yet unstable. There's nothing we can offer, but I have heard my state, as I said earlier, is one of the closest states to Darfur. There are a lot of refugees from Darfur living there now, in a Will state, A-W-E-I-L. And something very surprisingly, I've never been back to Sudan since I left when I was 7. I'm in Southern Sudan port when I was 7. And I left Khartoum when I was 18 in 1998. And I'm going to take a trip back to Sudan this coming year. In January, I'm going to go back to Southern Sudan port. And thank you. The mission I'm going back is to show to our brothers and sisters in Darfur that we have forgiven them, because they are our former oppressors. They were used by the Sudanese government because of the religion to kill us. And I've been actually talking to a lot of Southerners, telling them that we must forgive these people because they were blinded and brainwashed. They didn't know this one day will turn against them. The war in Sudan or the conflict in Sudan is not a religion conflict anymore. It is racism, you know. And they should know that we are all brothers and sisters, you know. And I'm going to go with a delegation of the Lost Boys. If you ever heard of the Lost Boys and Lost Girl of Sudan, one of the young pastor, Lost Boy, who live in Atlanta, Abram Nial, and I, and one of the Lost Boy, you know, a chairman in Kansas City where I live, Simon, and a few Darfurian, and one of the American pastor who quit his job as a pastor at one of the Christ Church in Kansas City, and he was moved by the story that he heard from the Sudanese locally there, and because he didn't do his work perfectly as a full-time pastor, he quit his job and he said, I want to do something to help these people. And he has established an organization called Sudan Sunrise, you know, and he's actually aimed to help build the reconciliation between South Sudanese and people of Darfur. And I help him a lot, and he's going to go with us, and 60 Minutes going to go with us. And we're going to go to my state, and we're seeking for the possibility to go to Chad. And they told us it is absolutely dangerous to go. So they said the best way you can go to Southern Sudan and maybe meet with refugees from Darfur from there in my state, in a Will state. And that's what we will do early in January. And we will come back and tell the story, you know, but we can't do it alone. We need more than what you have offered today to listen to this story. We need you to think, you know, as individual like you are, what you can do to help, because any one of you can make a huge impact to others, you know. And I really thank the students, because it's you students that help bring the peace accord that we have now between the South Sudanese and Northern Sudanese in the South. As you also would help to bring the peace for the people of Darfur. And I ask for all of you to talk to anyone that you know about this issue, to do whatever effort you can make and be a part of this, you know, struggle. And I know if all of us work together, we will win this struggle, and we can help to abolish, you know, this kind of thing that we still see happening in other nations. This country, I heard, has its historical. You know, this is my first time I learned about slavery in the United States in 2001. I learned it through someone that I have a lot of respect to, Dr. Charles Jacobs. I call him my American father. He's the president and co-founder of the American Enslavement Group. He's the one that helped me to come to Boston and work with him. And at the Boston Freedom Award, he was actually recognized by, Secretary God King, that just passed away a year ago or two. And I did not know her. I did not know her husband. I did not know anything about African American in particular. And along Charles spoke, and he asked me to say a few words. I said, how am I going to say? I don't know much English. I said hello, and I said whatever I said that time. I couldn't remember. And along, with her was a mayor of Boston, Thomas Menino, and they present a award, Secretary God King and him, to Charles Jacobs, a Boston Freedom Award. And afterwards, she said she wanted me to come to her hotel room, and she wanted to ask me some questions comfortably. I went with Charles, and one of the Sudanese women who were working with one of the local organizations there came, and she translated for me from Arabic to English. And she said, my husband was a hero. I said, who is your husband? He said, Dr. Martin Luther King. He's not with us. He's the man that changed the United States. And maybe one day you will learn about him from school if you go to school in America. Or maybe one is, African American History Month. You will learn about that. I was interesting to ask a lot of questions. It took 1 hour for me only to ask questions, and 1 hour for her to ask me questions. 2 hours we spent. And I thanked her a lot afterward. The same day, Charles said, in better to make you understand it, let's pass by Barnes & Noble. He got me a dream speech, video tape. And then also along he brought a 10 Commandment by the Moses, about the Jewish, because Charles is a Jew himself. I watched first the dream speech, and I was moved, and I said, wow, he addressed all that people? He said yes, and he said, hey, everyone respect him, and respect his legacy. So he's a great man. And then I watched the 10 Commandments about the Moses when the Jewish people were enslaved in Egypt, and Moses said to Pharaoh, let my people go and sea open for them. Now I teach my Jewish friends that, there was a great moment when the sea opened for your people, but yet sea hasn't opened for my people, and I want you to realize that we are brothers and sisters. And the same thing I say to African American, we are brothers and sisters, because I heard that your ancestors were enslaved in Africa. Now you are living comfortably, though that none of these people existing ever experienced, but you must now, something had happened, that's why you are what you are today. So please, let's do this together. Don't say it's not happening here anymore, or it is already abolished, like I heard in 1865. Now, slavery is not history. It's still even happening here and elsewhere. So actually, that's the time I started my Abolitionist. And it was a great thing to start in Boston, because I have learned also Boston is a center of Abolitionists. I started speaking locally in Massachusetts and then widely in America, and now I'm continuing doing the same thing. And even as I began growing and my mind is getting bigger and I have all these big dreams, I've done a lot. I had testified to the Congress, I have spoken to the Congress in Capitol Hill. I had testified to Senate with broadcasting live in C-SPAN. I had met President Bush twice in September 4th, 2011, when he was sending a special envoy to Sudan. Former senator from Missouri, John Danforth. I had met him, and I had met a former Secretary of State, Colin Powell, and I told him, you have duty to help my people. I had met President Bush in September or whatever, I can't remember, it's 2002. at White House at the Sudan Peace Act ceremony when he signed that bill, and I had met almost every senator and every Congress. I said, I want to meet them and I want to talk to them live. And I want to ask them if they know anything about what's going on in Sudan for many years. They always say to me they know, and they will act. I would say, why you say you will act? You should act now. How many people do you want to see? That's exactly the question I ask when I go to UN and speak in New York. I always say, how many people do Kofi Annan want to see die in my country in order to make UN, realize this is what they were found for, actually. I heard there was genocide in Rwanda in 1994. I did not know anything. I was living in my own world. I was actually in slavery. But I learned, the UN didn't get there quickly. Now there's a second genocide in southern Sudan where 2 million people have been killed. There are more than people killed in Kosovo, Rwanda, and Somalia, and Haiti combined. And Kosovo. There's now action. Now there's the third genocide, and third genocide is within Sudan because we have 2 genocidal in my country. The third one is now in Darfur region, the current one, and nobody really seems to be doing anything about it. When are we going to act? So please, let's say to this government, we need to do this now. We need to end this now. We can't wait anymore. So, my friends, I really appreciate your time, and I appreciate every effort that each and one of you are doing to help, and I hope that this story has changed your life and at least assist you with whatever dream you have to help others, and I was in this session, people talking about the students, how you should go to to go to school in other nations, to learn other cultures, and it is important. I met 2 students to go to my country. I did not tell them, but they have chosen alone to go. I challenged one of the students at Harvard University when I spoke at Kennedy Government School. Jay Williams is African American. When he heard me, he come by and he was crying. He said, Francis, I don't know what to say, but I want to get involved with any organization. And I want to go to Sudan. He said, I'm a junior in college year, and I want to go. I said, please, it's not safe to go. He said, I want to go. I don't care if it's not safe. He went, he came back, and he finished his last year at Harvard, and he joined the American Encyclopedia for his first job with us. And he traveled back. The same thing, I challenged one of the students, his name Tommy Calvert. He's from San Antonio, Texas. He was running for the US Congress, this campaign. He's very, very talented kid. And he said, I want to go to Sudan. He went numerous times. And most importantly, high school student, his name George. I can't remember last name, but I have his last name, all full name. He was sophomore at one of the high schools in Providence, Rhode Island. I spoke there, and his science teacher told me, this kid doesn't listen. He doesn't do his homework, and so he told me everything. I said, I know. I went to evening high school with some American kids. They take everything for granted. And he said, she said, we took them to Uganda, for a summer trip, and when he went there, we asked the kids what they want to do, because we got there and there's many, many refugees from your country, and especially they are your tribe, Dinka, my tribe, and we asked students what they can volunteer to do with these children. It was mixed adults, people my age, 20-something. And this kid he said he's going to teach them computer, and he said in his class it was mixed age, people from age 11 to 20-something, and he was teaching them, and when he came in, they greeted him, with the native song. And they don't sit down until he told them to sit down, and when he left, everyone was crying. And he came back. When I spoke there, he's the one who was introducing me, and he said my life is totally changed. I never realized that I can do something. I can impact some other people's life. He said, I used to cheat myself, it's not a lie, but now I'm doing everything in my best to be professional, and I can't wait every summer to go and do whatever I can do to those refugees. This is something that is important, to go outside of other nations and learn other experiences and other cultures. I'm not recommending something that you can do as priority, but your leaders, your professors who are talking about this, it is something, an agenda that you may be required to go. So I want to give you this few minutes left. I always want to talk to you about everything, because this is a chance for me, a chance for my people, a chance for 27 million people that can be here to talk, each of them talk about their experiences. So it is now your turn to ask me any question you have. And I want to say once again, I have really appreciate your hospitality to have me be here with you. And I appreciate the school, and I appreciate the organization that sponsored me, especially the office of, I heard perspective, global perspective. I really appreciate them a lot, along with the list of many other sponsors. And I want to thank John once again and all the team that work hard to make this happen. Please, if you do have any question for me, don't hesitate, and don't feel that there's no silly question for me. I talk to all ages of people, and I always, even adults ask me a question they don't know, and it's always, even when I was learning English, I ask any question that you can ask. But I do ask, because that's how you learn something you don't know. Thank you so much for having me.